The presidency of the United States represents a cornerstone of American democracy, embodying the country's values and aspirations. Since George Washington's inauguration in 1789, each president has played a crucial role in guiding the nation through periods of transformation, challenge, and growth. This overview provides a detailed account of all U.S. presidents up to 2024, offering insights into their years in office, notable accomplishments, and significant events that define their leadership. By examining these leaders, we gain a clearer understanding of how each has contributed to shaping the trajectory of the United States. Our list of U.S. presidents starts with George Washington, 1789 to 1797. Years in power, 8. Notable achievements. As the first president, Washington established many presidential protocols and led the nation through its formative years, setting a precedent for future administrations. John Adams, 1797 to 1801. Years in power, 4. Notable achievements. Contributed to the drafting of the Declaration of Independence. His presidency was marked by the Quasi-War with France and the controversial Alien and Sedition Acts. Thomas Jefferson, 1801 to 1809. Years in power, 8. Notable achievements. Authored the Declaration of Independence, completed the Louisiana Purchase, which significantly expanded U.S. territory, supported the Lewis and Clark expedition. James Madison, 1809 to 1817. Years in power, 8. Notable achievements. Known as the Father of the Constitution, led the nation through the War of 1812, which bolstered American nationalism. James Monroe, 1817 to 1825. Years in power, 8. Notable achievements. Introduced the Monroe Doctrine, asserting U.S. influence in the Western Hemisphere. His presidency is often referred to as the era of good feeling. John Quincy Adams, 1825 to 1829. Years in power, 4. Notable achievements. Advocated for infrastructure improvements. His election was marred by accusations of a corrupt bargain. Andrew Jackson, 1829 to 1837. Years in power, 8. Notable achievements. Founded the Democratic Party, opposed the National Bank, effectively handled the nullification crisis, which tested federal authority. Martin van Buren, 1837 to 1841. Years in power, 4. Notable achievements. Managed the economic difficulties of the Panic of 1837, continued Jacksonian policies. William Henry Harrison, 1841. Years in power, 1 month. Notable achievements. His presidency was the shortest in U.S. history. He died shortly after taking office, leading to John Tyler's succession. John Tyler, 1841 to 1845. Years in power, 3. Notable achievements. First vice president to assume the presidency due to a predecessor's death, oversaw the annexation of Texas. James K. Polk, 1845 to 1849. Years in power, 4. Notable achievements. Expanded U.S. territory through the Mexican-American War, secured the Oregon Territory and California. Zachary Taylor, 1849 to 1850. Years in power, 1 year. Notable achievements. His presidency was cut short by his sudden death, served during a period of increasing sectional tension. Millard Fillmore, 1850 to 1853. Years in power, 3. Notable achievements. Enforced the Compromise of 1850, expanded the U.S. Navy. Franklin Pierce, 1853 to 1857. Years in power, 4. Notable achievements. Supported the Kansas-Nebraska Act, which heightened tensions over slavery. James Buchanan, 1857 to 1861. Years in power, 4. Notable achievements. His presidency was dominated by the secession crisis. His inability to prevent the Civil War was a significant criticism. Abraham Lincoln, 1861 to 1865. Years in power, 4. Notable achievements. Led the nation through the Civil War, issued the Emancipation Proclamation, delivered the Gettysburg Address, was assassinated in office. Andrew Johnson, 1865 to 1869. Years in power, 4. Notable achievements. First president to be impeached, struggled with Congress over Reconstruction policies. Ulysses S. Grant, 1869 to 1877. Years in power, 8. Notable achievements. Focused on Reconstruction and civil rights, his administration was marred by scandals and corruption. Rutherford B. Hayes, 1877 to 1881. Years in power, 4. Notable achievements. Ended Reconstruction by withdrawing federal troops from the South, promoted civil service reform. James A. Garfield, 1881. Years in power, 6 months. Notable achievements. Advocated for civil service reform, was assassinated early in his term. Chester A. Arthur, 1881 to 1885. Years in power, 3. Notable achievements. Implemented significant civil service reforms, modernized the U.S. Navy. Grover Cleveland, 1885 to 1889. Years in power, 4. Notable achievements. Only president to serve 2 non-consecutive terms, focused on tariff reform and reducing government corruption. Benjamin Harrison, 1889 to 1893. Years in power, 4. Notable achievements. Signed the Sherman Antitrust Act, expanded the U.S. Navy. Grover Cleveland, 1893 to 1897. Years in power, 4. Notable achievements. Returned for a second non-consecutive term, managed the Panic of 1893. William McKinley, 1897 to 1901. Years in power, 4. Notable achievements. Led the country through the Spanish-American War, promoted economic growth, was assassinated in office. Theodore Roosevelt, 1901 to 1909. Years in power, 7. Notable achievements. Implemented progressive reforms, established national parks, won the Nobel Peace Prize for mediating the Russo-Japanese War. William Howard Taft, 1909 to 1913. Years in power, 4. Notable achievements. Continued progressive reforms, later served as Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Woodrow Wilson, 1913 to 1921. Years in power, 8. Notable achievements. Led the U.S. through World War I, established the League of Nations, promoted the New Freedom Program. Warren G. Harding, 1921 to 1923. Years in power, 2. Notable achievements. Promoted a return to normalcy. His administration was marred by scandals, including the Teapot Dome affair. Calvin Coolidge, 1923 to 1929. Years in power, 6. Notable achievements. Emphasized business and economic growth, presided over the Roaring Twenties. Herbert Hoover, 1929 to 1933. Years in power, 4. Notable achievements. Presidency overshadowed by the Great Depression, faced criticism for his handling of the economic crisis. Franklin D. Roosevelt, 1933 to 1945. Years in power, 12. Notable achievements. Implemented the New Deal, led the country through the Great Depression and World War II, served 4 terms. Harry S. Truman, 1945 to 1953. Years in power, 8. Notable achievements. Ended World War II with the use of atomic bombs, initiated the Marshall Plan, navigated the early Cold War. Dwight D. Eisenhower, 1953 to 1961. Years in power, 8. Notable achievements. Established the interstate highway system, led during the early Cold War, enforced desegregation of schools. John F. Kennedy, 1961 to 1963. Years in power, 2. Notable achievements. Managed the Cuban Missile Crisis, initiated the Peace Corps, was assassinated in office. Lyndon B. Johnson, 1963 to 1969. Years in power, 6. Notable achievements. promoted the Great Society programs, signed the Civil Rights Act of 1964, escalated involvement in the Vietnam War. Richard Nixon, 1969 to 1974. Years in power, 5. Notable achievements: opened relations with China, resigned due to the Watergate scandal, first president to resign from office. Gerald Ford, 1974 to 1977. Years in power, 2. Notable achievements: first unelected president, granted a pardon to Nixon, faced economic challenges, including inflation. Jimmy Carter, 1977 to 1981. Years in power, 4. Notable achievements: brokered the Camp David Accords, focused on human rights, dealt with the Iran hostage crisis. Ronald Reagan, 1981 to 1989. Years in power, 8. Notable achievements: ended the Cold War, implemented economic reforms including tax cuts. His presidency was marred by the Iran-Contra affair. George H. W. Bush, 1989 to 1993. Years in power, 4. Notable achievements: led during the Gulf War, managed the end of the Cold War, faced a recession. Bill Clinton, 1993 to 2001. Years in power, 8. Notable achievements: oversaw economic expansion, enacted welfare reform, impeached but acquitted. George W. Bush, 2001 to 2009. Years in power, 8. Notable achievements: led the nation through the 9/11 attacks, initiated the War on Terror, handled the financial crisis of 2008. Barack Obama, 2009 to 2017. Years in power, 8. Notable achievements: implemented the Affordable Care Act, managed the operation that killed Osama bin Laden, navigated the recovery from the Great Recession. Donald Trump, 2017 to 2021. Years in power, 4. Notable achievements: enacted tax reform, impeached twice, dealt with the COVID-19 pandemic. His presidency was characterized by political polarization. Joe Biden, 2021 to 2025. Years in power, ongoing as of August 2024. Notable achievements: focused on pandemic response and economic recovery, advanced infrastructure spending and climate change initiatives, faced challenges with inflation and international relations. The presidency of the United States has been a dynamic and evolving institution, reflecting the changing needs and values of the nation over more than 2 centuries. Each president has grappled with unique challenges and opportunities, leaving behind a legacy that continues to shape American society and governance. As the country moves forward, the experiences and decisions of past presidents offer valuable lessons and insights, illustrating the enduring nature of leadership and the impact of presidential actions on the course of U.S. history.